Hey guys, it's Sagar, and this is my review of the Apple Watch Series 7. Prior to this, I was actually using the original Apple Watch, so this is a huge upgrade for me. I bought the first generation Apple Watch 6 years back, and I've been using it ever since. Apple later started calling it Series 0, which actually makes it feel even older than it is. I've seen many people complain about the Series 7 not being enough of an upgrade over the Series 6 or even the Series 5. But I think those people are missing the point that not everyone looks to upgrade their watch every year. I mean, it's a watch, and most average users might look to get a new one when their previous one stops working. I know there are a few people who might upgrade every year or every other year, but I am certain that that is a very small number of people. Coming back to the Series 7, I think it's a big upgrade for someone like me, or for anyone else who is upgrading from something as old as Series 3. The screen alone on this new Apple Watch is 50% bigger than the Series 0 or Series 3, and compared to the Series 4, 5, 6 and SE, the screen is still 20% bigger. If we talk about the overall design, this new Apple Watch looks much rounder. With all the leaks and renders about the squared off flatter design going around, Apple pulled a curveball and brought in much more rounder watch. Although the design is not groundbreakingly new, it is different enough that after using the original Apple Watch for so long, I needed 3 to 4 days to get used to it. Everything from the display to the overall casing is now much rounder. The display now protrudes quite a bit more out of the casing, and Apple says this makes it much more durable against drops. The bezels are much smaller, and in a very clever way, the display wraps around the edges. If you have the right watch face on and look at it from the side, the text appears to extend right to the edges of the display. It looked way better when Apple showed it in the promo video, but in real life you won't notice it all that much. It is cool though. Series 4 onwards, Apple increased the size of both smaller and bigger Apple Watch from 38 and 42mm to 40 and 44mm. With the Series 7, we see another size increase, and now the smaller one gets a 41mm casing and the bigger one gets a 45mm casing. Fun fact, the smaller 7 series Apple Watch is now just as big as my original bigger Apple Watch. I was surprised to know that despite of the watches getting bigger over years, you could use all the band that you might have collected over years with the Series 7 Apple Watch. This obviously depends on the size, but all the bands from the previous smaller watches are compatible with the new smaller watch, and ones from the previous bigger watch are compatible with the newer bigger watch. This is something that I really appreciate. If you can't tell by looking at it, then this is the green aluminum casing, and yes, I have been including shots from Green and Midnight Watch in this video. So don't worry, your eyes are not playing a trick on your mind. Honestly, I am disappointed with the color options for the Series 7. There is no neutral black or silver color option. Midnight is just dark blue and Starlight is off-white. I am sure there are many people who are disappointed by this. Before we go ahead, if you are new to this channel, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon below that like button. That way, you won't miss out on any of the amazing videos coming up on this channel. At the back, now we get ceramic around all these sensors, which is a much more durable material. Apple changed this with the Series 4, I guess. Earlier the whole casing other than the sensors were made of anodized aluminum. But for my watch, it hasn't fared well against sweat, swimming pool or ocean water. You can see the anodization actually coming off from many places on my original Apple Watch. I think Apple learned from this and changed the material so it is more resistant and lasts longer. You can see the sensors behind the Series 7. Blood oxygen monitor, heart rate monitor, terminals for ECG and so on. All these sensors are the same one that you got on the Apple Watch Series 6. Inside, it gets an S7 processor, but again it is the same processor as the Series 6 Apple Watch, it just gets a new name. This watch now gets IP6X water and dust resistance, making it the most durable Apple Watch yet. Coming back to the front, if I put the same watch face on both these watches, you can see how much bigger the display on the Series 7 is. Bigger display means Apple was able to pack in more information on some of these watch faces. The Contour and Modular Duo are the two new watch faces which take advantage of the bigger display. The display is not only bigger, but it is also a lot brighter too. It's an LTPO panel, which means it gets variable refresh rate, so when you are not using or looking at it, the refresh rate can ramp down to just 1 Hz, which is crazy. The always on mode on this watch is great, but it is also a lot brighter compared to the always on display on previous watches. This watch is so good at waking the display when the wrist moves, so most of the times I don't even feel the need to have the always on display turned on. One thing that this bigger display allows us to do is have a full-on keyboard on your wrist. You can use this keyboard to type or swipe. It is a nice option to have for someone who has been waiting for it. But I feel the keys are still small, at least on this 44mm one, and if you get anything wrong, it is very difficult to hit the delete button. and writing the whole thing again takes much more time, so I don't use this at all. In my opinion, dictation is far more accurate and works much better. As I mentioned before, there are two watch faces for the Series 7 Apple Watch to take advantage of this bigger display. First one is Contour, which we saw earlier, and second one is this modular Duo. You can now add an extra complication to this watch face. Although I am not too sure why Apple didn't brought this watch face to Apple Watch Series 4 and above, because honestly, it doesn't require all that much extra space. If you are upgrading from the Series 4, 5 or 6, I am not sure if you would notice it or not, but the Series 7 is so much faster compared to the Series 1, 2 and 3. Everything from startup to opening apps or doing basic things like setting a timer can feel so much faster on the Series 7. While using the original Apple Watch, I never had issues with the haptic engine on it. Actually, I never missed any notifications even though my watch was always on silent. But the haptics on this Series 7 Apple Watch are on a whole new level. They are stronger and feel much fuller. I actually checked the haptics on the Apple Watch Series 6 and Series 5 in one of the Apple stores, and this is still stronger. I don't think I can explain this on the video here. You will just have to go to one of the Apple stores and experience it for yourself. All I can tell you right now is, the haptics on this watch are very good. There are a lot of fitness related features on this watch, but I am not a fitness freak, so I barely use half of the options that are available. But if you are into basic everyday fitness, then there are a ton of options and features that will make you happy. That being said, if you are into advanced fitness or if you are training for some marathon or things like that, then you might still want to go with a dedicated fitness tracker rather than a smartwatch. One of the best features of this watch is workout tracking, and the list of workouts and physical activities that this watch can track just keeps on growing each year. There is a step tracker, altitude meter, blood oxygen monitor, heart rate monitor, ECG, sleep tracking and much more. I know a lot of people who wanted the sleep tracking feature, but I am not one of them. I don't like to wear my watch when I go to sleep. I feel it's a bit uncomfortable, but that is just me. If I use the watch while sleeping, I wouldn't know when I would get the time to charge it, which brings me to the next point, its battery life. No matter how dated my original Apple Watch looks or how slow it is now, one thing that I always appreciated was its battery life. I was getting 2 full days worth of battery backup out of it when it was new, and after 5 to 6 years, it still lasts me for over a day on a single charge, which is crazy if you think about it. Over the years, I have still got in the habit of putting it on the charger overnight despite of the remaining battery percent. I continue with the same habit to charge the Series 7 Apple Watch overnight. After starting a day with 100% charge, I mostly end my 16 to 17 hour day with about 38 to 40% of the battery still remaining. But this is with the always on display turned off. With it on, I end the day with about 25 to 28% of the battery still remaining. I think this is respectable battery backup considering how big the display is and how bright it gets. I mean, it's not a lot, but I knew what to expect when I was getting it. If you are expecting a week-long battery backup out of your smartwatch, then this isn't the one for you. This is a 1 or 1.5 day watch at the max, and you will have to charge it almost every day. I think the 45mm one has a slightly bigger battery and it lasts quite a bit longer on a single charge, so for better battery backup, you might want to go with that one. One of the key new features of this Apple Watch is its fast charging ability if you use the included USB-C wireless charger with the 18W or faster charging brick. This can take your Apple Watch Series 7 from 0 to 80% in just 45 minutes. Sadly, this fast charging feature is not supported in India. I don't know the reason for it, but this is mentioned in small letters on Apple's website. I think they should put it on top in bold letters, at least on Indian website, so people can make an informed decision. I know a few guys who upgraded from the Series 5 and Series 6 just for the fast charging feature alone, and they are extremely disappointed that it is not available in India, at least yet. It is not a hardware limitation. There seems to be some sort of software limitation in place to prevent it from charging fast. We even get the USB-C fast charging puck with the aluminium back in the box, so having this feature disabled in India seems like an unnecessary move. If you have seen any of my smartphone reviews, you might know that I am not a big fan of curved or edge displays. But on this watch, it is not that big of an issue because of its size, and we don't have a lot of content displayed on the watch which flows over the edge unless you are looking at it off-axis or from the side. Overall, I like the Series 7 Apple Watch. I think it has most of the things that could be packed in a smartwatch, and it is already much ahead of what the competition is offering. To put it simply, this is the best Apple Watch that Apple has created yet. That being said, I still consider it to be a nice to have device rather than a must have accessory. After all, it is still an extension of your phone and not a standalone device by itself. Even if you get a cellular version, you still need to pair it with an iPhone, and need an iPhone to set it up, just so that you know. My only disappointment with this watch is its battery life. I was hoping after 5 to 6 years, Apple would have found some way to make the battery last for 2 to 3 days at least. I mean, instead of making the glass thicker, they should have given us a bigger battery which would have lasted longer. But here we are. Other than that, I don't have much issues with this watch. So now the question remains that should you buy the Apple Watch Series 7, or rather who should buy it? I said before that this is the best watch that Apple has ever made, but that doesn't make it the right watch for everybody. If you haven't used any Apple Watch before, and if you're looking to get one for the next 3, 4 or 5 years, then you should go ahead with it. If you want best and latest Apple Watch and money is not an issue, then again you can go for it. Or if you have been using any of the Apple Watch from before the Series 4, then again you can go for it because it will be a pretty substantial upgrade for you. But if you have been using any of the Series 4, 5 or 6 Apple Watches, I think you can skip the Series 7 and wait another year for upgrade, because your overall usage experience won't change that much. But that is just my personal opinion. But then again, I also gave up this Apple Watch Series 7 for Apple Watch SE, so what do I know? Why I made the switch from the Apple Watch Series 7 to the Apple Watch SE is a good story, but I'm going to save it for another video. So make sure you have the notifications for this channel turned on. That is it for this video, guys. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to the channel for a lot more amazing videos like this. You can also check out some of the other videos from this channel. This has been Sagar, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.